All right, welcome in once again. WagerTalk Today, off and running. We're Prezless here on this Wednesday. Have no fear, though. Prez will be back on Friday. At least he better be. In the meantime, though, we got plenty of games and actionable info for you guys to be able to jump all over today. We are going to talk with our good friend from the Risk Room at the WestGate, Art DiCesare. You see him every Saturday and Sunday on Last Call, dishing out all of that last-minute steam, telling you exactly what the books need and what kind of betting action we have seen thus far. We'll get all of that from him coming up. Also, Andy Lang here to drop by and talk all sorts of props for you. Big night in the NHL tonight in props for Andy. He's going to look ahead to an NBA prop coming up tomorrow night, and wouldn't be Andy Lang if he didn't talk darts, and he's got a best bet for you here to take advantage of. Then, of course, Gianni the Greek dropping by with his daily Steam report. Huge college basketball slate today. We've got college football bowl games to go after. And let's not forget, we'd love if you hit that like button as well as the subscribe button if you haven't done so already, because our first guest is all ready for college football here today. And why not? Ralph Michaels, the pen in the house, ready to roll here, Ralph. Talk to me, my man. What is going on with you? I know you got that pen ready to roll. I can see what's happening there. Talk to me about what we got rolling here today.
You know what, Joe? Let's start off with tonight's bowl game. A great bowl season, and it's a very unique bowl season. There was the one bowl game, the same as Army-Navy, and then we have a break for the playoffs on, Friday and Saturday. But tonight, we have the LA Bowl, UNLV, and the Cal Golden Bears. So one thing we've talked about with some TNA on different shows I've been on are I usually go to the bowl games, and I want to back 6-6 teams that are a favorite or a small dog. You just eliminate games that are a double-digit dog. If you blindly bet every 6-win team against an opponent with 6 or more wins, you've gone 59-34, 63.4%. And does it make sense? Absolutely, to me. The Cal Bears moving forward, every player on the team, every coach, and everyone associated with the California Golden Bears college football team, their legacy will either be a winning team or a losing team moving forward. So that 6-6 team that is a favored or a single-digit dog has performed very well. The problem is this. I can't get to the Cal Bears side when they were number 3 in pass offense in the ACC, but their quarterback is out in the transfer portal. Their number 1 running back, Thomas, 598 yards, 6.6 yards per carry, likely to miss. Their top receiver, out in the transfer portal. Their top left tackle, likely out tonight as well. So we have a lot of issues there. Cal also missing their OC. They're just going to call plays by committee. So when you look at you're missing a quarterback, your number 2 likely isn't going to play. That leaves you a true freshman who hasn't made a pass and an inexperienced person who only has a few passes in his career being the quarterback. Cal ran the ball 58% of the time this season, and I expect that significantly to go up. Even though Cal had their quarterback and was a high-scoring pass offense, this year on the road, they've gone 1-4 over-under away from home, and those 4 unders have gone under the total by 18.5 points per game. On UNLV's side, we know Barry Odom left to take another job at Purdue. Their OC interviewed for the job. He was turned down, so he said, screw it. I'm not coaching tonight. You didn't want me. I'm gone. So you have the wide receiver coach as an interim head coach, and you're really going down the depths to figure out who's going to be calling plays. UNLV only played 4 teams with a winning record this year, but their D was significant. Looking at winning teams only, UNLV was number 15 in yards per game allowed and number 11 in yards per play allowed. The Rebels were 4-1 over-under as a double-digit favorite. They didn't mind expanding the lead against an inferior foe, but they went 2-6 in the other games, including 0-4 away from home, and those games went under by 17.1 points per game. I released under 47.5 as a client release. This total has dropped. It's as low as 45.5. Now, I even saw a 45 before I logged on. So I still like the under, just not quite as strong as the 4-star I released prior to today's line moves on the under.
Ralph, do we know if White is playing tonight for UNLV? Do we know whether or not he is actually is he going to skip? Is he going to the draft? Do we know what he's going to do? Will Ricky White III be available? He's probably the best offensive player on that team. Well, he is the best offensive player on that team here, and I think that's probably worth a point or two. No?
Yeah, no confirmation on that, Joe. But interesting enough, UNLV's top cornerback is in the transfer portal, but he is playing today. So, guys, just because you go into the transfer portal doesn't mean you can't play.
Yep.
The coach and teammates are happy to have you play in the bowl game. You're able to do so, and we'll see that tonight. So I don't have an answer on Ricky White. Obviously, I handicap the game as if he was playing. So if he doesn't play, an extra boost to the selection.
I love that. All right, Ralph, a good way to look at that. 9 o'clock Eastern time kick there for the LA Bowl. There is one down in my neck of the woods, of course, the Boca Raton Bowl. We'll talk a little bit more about that one a little bit later here in the show. But, Ralph, let's focus on one of the college football playoff games coming up. And it's kind of hard to believe, but it has been a hot minute. We're talking decades upon decades since Indiana and Notre Dame have actually gone head-to-head. It's not like these two teams, ironically enough, have a lot of history against one another. But you talk to a lot of people. Boy, Signetti, they feel the coaching edge is with Indiana here. Getting a quality number, a key number here, Ralph. Is Indiana worth taking a flyer on?
I don't, Joe. I lean Notre Dame. And you look at Indiana, and much has been made of their schedule. But let me quantify it. They played the number 74th toughest schedule. That is second worst among every Power 4 team. So you've played the bottom of the barrel. Take a look at the top teams they played. Ohio State, they had 151 yards. Washington, not even a top team, they had 312 yards. Against Michigan, they were held to 246 yards. And I've heard a lot of people talk about, the Indiana Hoosiers are a great defensive dog. I'm going to throw that one into question. You look at Hoosiers' rush defense, and yes, it is excellent. 71 yards per game allowed rushing, and only 2.5 yards per carry. But I stole this one from my son. He pointed out that when you look at the slate of rushing offenses Indiana has faced, number 104, an FCS team, number 131, number 106, number 118, number 123, number 95, number 93, number 110, number 69, number 59, and number 110. That is 2 teams in the top 90 rush offenses and no teams in the top 55. Well, guess what? Notre Dame is number 10. When you look at the Hoosiers against winning teams, they get no pressure. They're a team that plays back, tries to make you beat them with the run and the pass. They only average 0.3 sacks per game against winning teams. Penn State does not allow. They are number 20, allowing 0.9 sacks per game on the offensive side. The Fighting Irish rush attack, 47.8 points per game the last 5, with the rush attack averaging 246 yards per game and 7.1 yards per carry. And Notre Dame, they do not beat themselves. They lost the turnover battle one time this year, Joe, and I bet you can guess which game it was. It was back in September against Northern Illinois, where they were -2 turnovers. You have a quality team that doesn't beat itself, that can run the ball, and the defense, by the way, still top 25 in my book compared to what their opponents average. I do like the Irish here.
Yeah, Notre Dame has won what, Ralph? 10 games this year by double digits, has scored at least 28 points 10 times. Indiana's only faced, what, 4 bowl teams, Ralph, I think, when it was all said and done, but only one of them is ranked, and that is Ohio State, and we know how that went. Are you shocked that this number is not higher, though, Ralph?
Yeah, I think, Joe, people thought, oh, my God, the Irish, the tickets are crazy and they're priced, but I think the Irish are just not getting enough respect because they played a very weak schedule as well. I think Notre Dame moving forward, just FYI, has the easiest chance to get into the playoffs every year with the schedule they played. Yeah, they played Texas A&M on the road. They won that. But their other 2 road games were at Purdue and at USC. So I would make sure if I was a committee member to say to Notre Dame moving forward, you have to play at least 4 Power 4 road games every season because every conference team has to do that each and every year. So I just think Notre Dame, people love Indiana. Again, the Sharps have been on Indiana often, including in those big games, but the eye test just doesn't pass for me. So I think the Hoosier respect and the Big Ten respect is the reason the line isn't bigger.
So there are some, looking at weather reports, Ralph, it does look like maybe snow and some wind there. This is going to be the first college football 12-team playoff game, right, to kick this off for the first time. Outdoors should be interesting. 51 is that total. Are we thinking turnovers become an issue in this game? Both defenses have been great at it all year, short fields and points, or do you think the running of both of these teams, they're going to shorten it up here a little bit? Because, listen, the winner has got to play another game, Ralph, another couple of games. How much do you think early on in these playoff games, how many teams are emptying the tank here knowing they still got to play a couple of games moving forward?
Well, you look at Indiana and Notre Dame, their offenses is built on running the ball, which you always want for the under. Notre Dame, 428 rush attempts, 215 pass attempts. So over 2-1. Indiana on the season, 464 rush attempts, 226 pass attempts. Not quite 2 for 1, but a significant edge. And again, you have quarterbacks that don't make mistakes. Riley Leonard threw 2 picks in Northern Illinois. He's got a 16-3 ratio if you take that out of the equation. Curtis Rourke, a 27-4 ratio. Under's the only way I would look at this matchup.
We got it's going to be an interesting one, Ralph, for sure there. Big shout out to the chat room. Andrew in the house, Bill Sandoval, Big Daddy in there, cashing tickets. Have Cash back in the saddle again. Also a big shout out to David is pointing out the fact and reminding Notre Dame fans that you did lose to NIU, didn't you? That was this year. We hear you, David. Railroad Journeys is in the house. Nobody's yelling. Railroad Journeys, nobody's yelling. Just turn the earpiece down. You'll be fine there. Also, Mike Lawson, thanks for stopping by. Peasy in the house, Javier Martin. You guys are the best. We're going to talk a college basketball game here tonight on a pretty loaded slate. Ralph, you got to love it here tonight. Some of these matchups are intriguing, including one involving the undefeated Oklahoma Sooners taking on the University of Michigan here tonight, Ralph. Oklahoma not getting a whole lot of love in places like KenPom, who don't necessarily have them as, I don't even think they're in the top 30. Are they in KenPom? So I don't even, what do we do? Is it just a matter of time? Is this the wall of Michigan that they finally run into and lose a game tonight?
Well, you look why they're not ranked with the analytics, Joe. The number 315th strength of schedule and the number 315 slate of offenses. They've played one team in the top 55. That is Arizona. They did play a good game against Arizona, beating them 82-77. With Michigan, we basically had a very new team with Michigan and Dusty May coming in as the coach. But they did play a very difficult schedule. They're scheduled number 48. So to me, that is a significant edge to Michigan. But, Joe, we're at that time of the season in mid-December. I wanted to share some TNA with you. When you look at the college basketball schedules, when teams are on finals, they don't schedule games. They take off that week. So you have interesting rest scenarios where one team may not have played for 7 or 10 days and the other team may have played a few days ago. So when I went back all the way since 2015, in December, if a team has 7 or more days rest and they're a favorite against an opponent with 3 days rest or not, so we have a legitimate rust versus rest. That rested favorite that hasn't played in at least 7 days, only 141 and 173. That is 45% against the spread. So we have a 300-game sample size over 9 years. That's significant. One other TNA I want to share. I went to the database and I wanted to look at college basketball teams that have a win streak of at least 10 games and are a dog. Going back to 2020, there's a reason they've been a dog, Joe. They're 16-47 straight up. That is 25.4%. And they're 21-42, 33% against the spread. But I can't get to Michigan here. Why? Boy, they really are sloppy on offense. They're number 335 in defensive turnover percentage against a Sooners team that is top 20 with turnover defense. The top 3 defenses Michigan has played this year, 3 top 50 defenses, 16 turnovers against Wake Forest, 21 turnovers against TCU, and 17 turnovers against Arkansas. Plus, you have a Michigan team that is number 275 in free throw percentage. So there's no way I'm going to back a favorite that turns the ball over and can't shoot free throws. This game is in Charlotte, a neutral setting. But when I look at both teams, they want to press the pace on offense, but on defense, their defense is excellent and they slow opponents down. Oklahoma's foes have taken a shot only once every 18.2 seconds. That is number 315 in offensive tempo. Michigan's foes have taken a shot also once every 18.2 seconds. They rank 319 with the rounding difference. And I look at this and I say under, under, under. Those teams that have won 10 straight that are a dog, by the way, over, under, 26 overs, 37 unders. That is 59% to the under. And again, defensive pace, poor free throw shooting, a lot of turnovers for Michigan. Give me the under in this one, as I can't back either side in the situations they're in.
So it's interesting. You're right. Both these defenses, Ralph, are pretty good here, but also Michigan shooting pretty well from 3. Is it fair to say that this is certainly maybe the most explosive offense that Oklahoma has been a part of here thus far? I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Alcorn State here. I mean, I played them against my alma mater, Oklahoma State, this weekend. They were able to drop 80 on them here, but are we thinking that they're going to have enough in the tank to be able to slow this Michigan offense down? Because that would scare me with how efficient they've been from behind the arc and inside the paint here. It feels like this could be a Michigan runaway, and if it is, are we sure we're staying under in this game?
Yeah, again, Joe, they're likely to have 20 turnovers. It is tough to win and cover a game if you have 20 turnovers in a game. And what they've done in other places, and some of those games were at home. So now going to a neutral setting, again, I understand that concept. And yes, Oklahoma has been a strong three-point shooting team, but guess what? Michigan's three-point defense, top 70. Guess what? Michigan doesn't shoot nearly as many threes as Oklahoma, but they've been very productive. They're top 90, averaging 36% three-point shooting. But again, Oklahoma's three-point defense, top 30 in the country. So 2 very good three-point defenses. And again, that just leads me to the under in this situation.
All right, there you go. An under tonight with OU and Michigan. Love what Dusty May has done there in Michigan here, and that was kind of the hallmark of his FAU teams, Ralph, as well, right? When they were good, they were good. When they were sloppy, my goodness, were they sloppy. And ended up costing them a few games there over the last couple of seasons at Florida Atlantic. All right, Ralph, so we've got a couple of college football games in a book by you. We got a college basketball game, I know. We will see you later tonight, of course, on Bet On It for more TNA in the NFL Week 16. What do you got locked, loaded, ready to roll here at WagerTalk.com for the clients?
I have two different packages, Joe. One college basketball, 4% best bet, and the bowl game. Again, don't buy the bowl game. You already got it. It's on the under. But it's simple, Joe. Buy January for $2.99. Get the rest of December for free. One of the best promotions we run. That is not valid for me and anyone on the site. So if you have a favorite handicapper, you want to go through the holidays. And remember, if you sign up for an all-access package, you don't need to worry about when you're traveling. As soon as I load a play, you get an email. So you are able to get the best lines as soon as I load that play and have an enjoyable Christmas without stressing about having to figure out which handicapper you're going to purchase.
Good stuff, Ralph. As always, my man, we certainly appreciate seeing you. We'll see you later on Bet On It as those get posted. Right around the 5-6 o'clock Eastern time tonight, you'll get both editions, both the college football and the NFL edition of Bet On It, which is why probably makes sense to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so you can get notified when those videos are available. Hit the like button as we welcome in Big Rob in the house. Daryl Mack, been looking on the back of milk cartons for you, man. Good to see you here. Roger Long, as well as Bob Peasy, Joshua Alexander in the house over on YouTube Shorts. You guys are the best. Hit that like button for us. We would certainly appreciate it. All right, we've got coming up still the one and only Art DiCesare will drop by and give us the latest from the risk room at the WestGate. We'll hear what kind of action they're getting on these big games coming up. And, of course, Gianni the Greek VR will be here in about 20 minutes, and we will get his Steam report. But first, time to bring on the prop god. You know, Andy Lang, ready to roll here tonight as we have gotten, Andy, call me crazy. Pretty interesting slate on the ice. I love you just crush these NHL props because nobody pays attention to them and the market never adjusts them. So it is legit. If it ain't broke, we ain't fixing it. Prop market there in the NHL. And you've got 3 tonight that you like. So break it down for us. What are we looking at prop-wise in the NHL tonight?
Well, it's our best friend Olen Zellweger. This is the MVP of the last month, Joe. Nobody knows him. He plays for Anaheim. Over 1.5 shots on goal, and the books are still leaving it out there. He's hit this in 22 out of 27 games this season, and an insane 17 out of 18 games. That's the definition of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just rinse and repeat. It's minus 182. I don't care. Just keep playing it. We're profiting off this every single time he plays, and he gets a good matchup tonight. Winnipeg gives up the 23rd most shots on goal, the 26th most shots on goal to defensemen. This is how you make money in the props market. It's not the big name guys. It's these under-the-radar guys that the books aren't paying attention to, that the general public isn't paying attention to. So when I go down the list of guys that I've been making the most money off of props-wise, it's guys like Olen Zellweger. So happy to have him at 1.5 shots on goal again. I do have to bring up Dylan Guenther over 1.5 or over just half a point. He has a point in 5 straight games. He has a point in 9 out of 11 games. Vancouver gives up 3 goals per game, and 2.6 of those per game goes to forwards. And last time he played him, he had 4 points. So good matchup for Dylan. And then me and Prez talked about Ryan Hartman under half a point, and ever since we talked about him, he keeps not having a point. It's minus 200, but I do have to mention it because, again, this is a rinse and repeat. It's hit 12 games in a row. 12. He has 3 shots on goal combined in the last 2 games. And here's the big thing, Joe. No power play minutes the last 2 games. He's not getting on the ice when they're running power play. They had an overtime game, 0 seconds on the ice in overtime. So you're not getting him on these big time scoring opportunities. So it's minus 200, very juicy. I know most people don't want to play it, but this thing's hit 12 games in a row. He's not getting power play minutes. Yeah, this is a play for us.
Love this. So we got a few there on the ice tonight, Andy, that you're looking at here. Zellweger, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Dylan Gunther, Ryan Hunter, a couple of unders. You got your finger on the pulse here in the NHL, so it makes a lot of sense, guys, to take a look at these props here tonight and also visit Andy over at his page because, listen, if it's obscure you like, okay, and by the way, hats off to Daryl Mack, who's giving out women's cricket betting advice right now in the chat room, Andy. Very impressed with what he's got going on there. But he is not going to beat you when it comes to darts, my man. We've been trying to tell everyone how unbelievably profitable you have been in the darts market. And I believe you are going to drop a best bet for us here today in darts. So tell us, what do you got going on here?
So this is the big tournament of the year. It's the World Championships. Our last tournament we were awful in, but this tournament 9-2 to start off with. So this is our bread and butter, and we're going to take a look at Madar's Razma to go over 1.5 180s. This is available on DraftKings, FanDuel. They all have this. So first off, what is a 180? It's when you hit the triple 20 in 3 darts. It's the best play that you can have in darts. It's what everyone is aiming for. And to get this 1.5, this is a guy who's 44th ranked player in the world. He's good. He's thrown 141 of these in the last 12 months. And the key to this tournament, Joe, is if you got 2 guys that are pretty evenly matched, they're going to play a lot of games. It's like if you don't have a blowout, then there's a lot of games and a lot more darts to throw. This is going to be a close game. This matchup's like minus 130, minus 140. And what we're seeing is a lot of these guys that are off of the radar, they've been practicing. They've been really good. This over 180s on these lesser known guys has been hitting. And it makes sense. I mean, it's darts, Joe. You don't have to. It's not like golf where in order to practice, you need a golf course and good weather and everything. It's darts. It's a dart board. You can practice this. So we're seeing in the first couple rounds, these guys are coming to play on a big stage. So Madar's Razma, that goes off this afternoon, over 1.5 180s.
Get on it, guys. I'm sure you'd have no problem finding a book that offers darts. And Andy, you have quite a number of them, correct? Not a hard thing to find darts action there in the books?
No, these are available on. If you have DraftKings or FanDuel, these plays are all up there. These are just these are your basic plays. I think a lot of people don't know. I don't think people expect them because when have you ever clicked on darts? Has the average person even looked through it? So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on social media. We'll send you screenshots on where to find these. But yeah, you have DraftKings, you have FanDuel. These plays are all available.
All right, I love it. Smash that like button here, guys. And Andy, by the way, so far so good. It appears that Dan has not hit the mute button once today. We've been able to hear all our guests, Andy, but plenty of time left, as he said.
Give it time.
That minus
we still got 2 guests left.
Yes, yesterday in the chat room here. Andy, look ahead to tomorrow, though, in the NBA slate. Looks like you've already found a prop that you're going to be looking for. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I might jump on this one. I think this line might move. That's why I wanted to mention it. Tyus Jones over 10.5 points. I think this moves up to 11.5 tomorrow. He's had 13 or more points in 7 straight games, and he plays my Indiana Pacers, Joe, who are awful this year. What has happened to my Indiana Pacers? They have to be the biggest disappointing team in the NBA. Anyway, they give up 24 points per game to point guards. So you're getting Tyus Jones, who's flying over this total. He's gone over in 7 straight. He gets the Pacers to give up 24 points. I jump on this 10.5 before it moves to 11.5.
Love it. Andy, locked, loaded, ready to roll here on this Wednesday. Tell us what you got at your page at WagerTalk.com.
Well, Ralph mentioned the promo. If you want to buy January, you get the rest of December. Here's why that's important. I just had to take down a 4% play on UNLV. We got it at -1. It's now -3.5. So we have to take that down. You wait on these plays, you don't get the best number. We just, we have the -1 and now it's crossed over to the 2, to the 3, and now to the 3.5. So take advantage of these long-term specials. For me, I really want to promote the year-long special. It's discounted down to $1,199, $1,199. We are now in number 3 for units gained in 2024, and we are still number 1 in the last 2 years in units gained. So short term, yeah, we're number 1 the last 3 days. Long term, we're number 1 the last 2 years. So if you're looking for plays long term, which you should be, we can help build your bankroll. We've been doing it for years. WT.buzz/AL.
Can't argue with success. Andy Lang, get out of here, brother. We appreciate it as always. We'll see you again tomorrow here on Wager Talk Today. All right, still plenty of great info coming your way here, guys. Of course, in just about 6 minutes or so, Gianni the Greek is going to drop by with his daily Steam report, getting you guys caught up with what he is seeing early on. But we also love on Wednesdays to bring in our good friend live from the Risk Group. It is the one and only Art DiCesare, and Art is already celebrating because I'm not the Prez. Art, always a pleasure to see you here, my man. What is going on with you? I mean, it's crunch time this week, right? Right before the end of the year, a lot happening in the Risk Room, my man. How's the temperature so far where you're at?
Yeah, this is a great week, Joe. I mean, obviously, we're going to get some bowl games. Obviously, a couple have started, but we'll get bowl games basically every day. And then we get our college football playoffs that we start on Friday, and then we get the 3 on Saturday. We got NFL on Saturday, full slate of NFL on Sunday. So this is a really fun time of the year, and we're going to have, basically big-time important games, starting Thursday all the way through Monday. So it's going to be a really fun time.
All right, so let's start with let's start with college football here, Art. And what are you seeing handle-wise now? We're starting to see more and more bets come in. These bowl games, day of. Is the public jumping in yet on any of the playoff games? What are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, so when we're talking about these lower tier games, like look at like the Memphis game last night, you're going to get a lot of day of action. We didn't get a lot of couple of days before action on the games. But these playoff games have definitely attracted action, and just everything has sort of kind of moved in one way or the other. Indiana's gone from 8 to 7. We're going to need Notre Dame pretty badly on Friday night. SMU has stayed steady at 8.5, but the total has gone up from 53 to 54. We've seen Texas money come in that's pushed Texas to -12 now. We were -11 for a long time. And then Ohio State, which we opened at 7, saw instant sharp money on, got to as high as 8, saw Tennessee buyback. Now we're sitting in the middle at 7.5. So that's kind of a 50-50 split. Pretty good action on that. And we've seen our total drop from 47 to 46. And as I've mentioned, and I'll continue to mention, with those 4 big favorites, we will need one of the dogs to win outright, just to knock out all moneyline parlays, all teasers, all things that are going to roll in to NFL games on Sunday. It'll be very important for us to see one of the dogs get an outright win in these college football playoffs.
It's interesting. Are you starting to see a lot of those cross-sport parlays, Art, right? College football favorites coupled with their favorite teams in the NFL on Sunday. You starting to see a lot of those come in?
Oh, you certainly are. And I mean, just think about, too, that you get a lot of big NFL favorites this week and a lot of popular teams, and I get it. The Bills are 2 touchdown favorites, but that doesn't mean they're not going to put them on a money line parlay. Doesn't mean they're not going to put the Lions, who are under a touchdown. The public's not worried about all the injuries. The public just loves the Lions. They'll put them with their money line parlays. And then they can even go all the way to Monday night with Green Bay. Once again, I know it's a 2 touchdown favorite, but that could be the end to someone's 6 or 8 team money line parlay with all favorites in there. Doesn't mean that they won't throw Green Bay in there as the last leg.
Yeah, I tell you, Art, it's going to be an interesting end to the year here. And next week, when you start getting, we've got the Christmas, you got the Christmas games there. You've got kind of being spread out as we get later and later into the NFL season. What is it like there? Do people get way out ahead of those games early in the week? How does it usually work this time of year?
Yeah, I mean, I think with the Christmas and, obviously you got a couple of games on Christmas Day, you'll get obviously action on those games. They're good games. They're, important matchups this late in the season, but it's kind of a slower time in Vegas. Holiday time in Vegas is a little slow because you have the ramp up to the following week, which is one of the busiest weeks in town, which is New Year's Eve. So Christmas is always a weird kind of time in Vegas. But listen, it's the NFL, it's bowl games, it's football. There'll be plenty of people coming and betting over the counter and obviously betting on their apps.
So how about the college basketball handle? Are we starting to see that pick up a little bit, or are we also waiting for the NFL college football to die down a little bit? More and more people starting to take notice of what's happening in college hoops.
Well, people will definitely start to take more notice of college hoops when the conference play starts, which is starting. But I always say, once you knock the college football out on Saturday, you're going to have some bowl games, you're going to have some playoff games, you're going to have a couple of NFL games. But the weekend of a Saturday is so dominated by college football, and as you know, that's a huge college basketball slate. You usually get really good matchups, so the public now starts to turn their attention a little bit more towards college basketball. We all know March is a different beast. Everyone, public-wise jumps in, but yes, right around now is when you start to see public people come in, because the first 2 months of this college basketball season is dictated by the sharp action and the sharp bettors, and we're fighting that uphill battle for the first 2 months.
And, of course, the NBA Cup finished up last night, Art, there in your neck of the woods, and now they've got tonight off, but picking up again tomorrow, and then, of course, a big slate of games on Christmas Day here. How was the handle on the NBA Cup for you guys? Did you see a lot of action?
The NBA Cup saw great action as far as the games go and player props. But, I had mentioned to Prez about this, that we had to win the Cup, we had groups up, and nobody bet those. There was no action on the future book as far as to win the Cup and to win certain groups, which I was a little surprised by. But the NBA, obviously being heavily bet the way it is, they were very interested in the standalone semifinal and final games, and we tried to do a little bit more as far as player props go than we would on a normal, say Tuesday or Wednesday night of a random NBA slate.
Interesting. That didn't see a whole lot of future action in that one there. All right, Art, anything that you're seeing on the card here today that stands out to you? Public jumping in on something? You getting good sharp action? Any game that stands out to you?
Yeah, I'll give you a couple in two sports, NHL and college basketball. We've seen Creighton money come in. Creighton, we opened 3. It's now 4. They're at Georgetown. And UVA has taken nice sharp money at home, +6 against Memphis. That is now 4. The NHL, you've seen 2 favorites move up. Panthers, which are at the Wild, that's a really good matchup. Panthers have gone from $1.25 to $1.50. And Utah at home, which was basically a pick'em at -110 against the Canucks at home. They've now moved 10 cents to -$1.20.
Gotta love it, Art DiCesare. Art, the good news is we get to see you here on Bet On It, and then, of course, on the weekends for Last Call, always picking the brain there of Art DiCesare, getting the latest on what's happening at the WestGate Superbook in Vegas. Art, I'd like to say I'll see you next week, but I'll see you in a couple hours, my man, for Bet On It. So enjoy it. We appreciate the knowledge as always. And don't forget, hit that like button if you haven't done so already. Smash that subscribe button. Become part of the WagerTalk TV family. Why? Because this is the kind of actionable info that you get. And nobody has more actionable info than our man, Gianni the Greek, VR in the house for his daily Steam report. And Gianni, we just heard some money coming in on UVA. The Creighton game is interesting. No doubt with this slate of college basketball games, you're starting to see a lot of early steam here.
Absolutely. I've already bet about 13, 14 college basketball sides in total. I've released 5 2 subscribers. 2 of them are 4% plays, and I also released 1 NHL total. So we're already firing, Joe. And in fact, coming off that West Virginia cover last night, now won 6 straight college football bets. And it's been since the season ended. I consider that my bowl season. And as you see, we've just been making big bets. So far, nothing on tonight's game, but we fired for Saturday, and I fired a 5% play. It just went out to my subscribers about 30 seconds ago. That line's still available. I don't know how long it'll be available, like whether it'll be there tomorrow or the day after, because of the damage we've done in the bowl games. But as we touched on yesterday, the big bets from the wise guys are starting to come in. Early, it was kind of like get out ahead of the public a little bit, get out ahead of those biases a little bit, and knowing it's a zero-sum game, they're betting, they're all racing for the best numbers. But now that they've kind of leveled off, now that all books more or less are taking action and we have a stable line, the only adjustments are made off of injuries, holdouts, and steam. That's pretty much it. Until game day, where we're seeing the betting public get involved. And a perfect example is UNLV tonight. Not to get ahead of myself, but I touched on that yesterday. You're not going to see this team as a dog for very long. You're not going to see them at -1 for very long. They're now up to that key number of 3. So for a bettor like today, if you haven't bet yet, tonight's game is easy for you. You either think California is now undervalued or you leave it alone. Like there's no reason you could lay 3.5 on UNLV. Even if they win this game by 45 points, it's a terrible bet, knowing that just 24 hours ago, they were an underdog. Just 24 hours ago, I could have got them at Pick'em at -110. Why would I ever lay 3.5 now? I don't care what they tell me, how they quantify that. That's nothing but wise guys getting a good number, the chasers taking the second and third number, and now all the public who's heard the information, whatever the main reasoning behind it is, seen the move, and they're still willing to lay that California side. That's why the bookmakers continue to make a hold of double digits as opposed to only like 5% hold. Because when we lay 11 to 10, their hold should only be $4.50 off every 100 we bet. And yet they're able to hold about $10, $11 some months off every 100 because bettors are willing to take bad numbers. And again, UNLV tonight is a bad bet. If you don't like Cal, you got to leave the game alone and move on to something else. I think those are like the things we need to have takeaways, because you make it easy for yourself as a bettor. You don't get out ahead of the number. You sit back and you find whether you fade the steam or you leave it alone. Sorry, not to go long, but yesterday's West Virginia game was the perfect example, and we're going to keep seeing that throughout the bowl games. So rather than repeat myself, the takeaway is if the lines move too significantly, your decision's already been made. You either now see value on the other side, or the bus has left the station and you just sit out and wait for the next nice bus that's going to pull up, giving you a good bet. That's it.
And it's going to be interesting, Gianni, because you're so right. If you were, this money has been going to UNLV slowly all week. The minute this thing hit 3, now 3.5, now's your time if you were waiting to get a better number on Cal to jump in. Otherwise, don't play the damn game. Just move on from it. There's plenty of other action on the board. Are you seeing anything with the JMU game as well?
Yeah, real quickly, 8 days ago, Cal was a 5-point favorite, so you understand. They were a 5-point favorite. So that's now an 8.5-point swing. That's over a touchdown swing. You're willing to take the worst of it. Same thing like with the under. It was 50.5. Now you're looking at 46. I don't care if they only scored 3 points. It's not a good bet. In Western Kentucky, James Madison, it got to that key number, and that's where they're pretty much staying. They're adding big. If you see some of the sharper shops making it 7 -15, 7 -20, because anytime they went above the 7, you saw the dog got bet, meaning this opened about 6. It got bet up through the key number of 7. When it got bet up through the key number of 7, that's when you started seeing the sharp money come in and take the points. But while they were taking the points, like they took the 7.5, but for whatever reason, more money came in on the favorite, pushed it up to 8.5 and 9. So there was still a difference of opinion early on, like between these groups, where some were already starting to see take the dog, some weren't. Now it seems like everybody's agreed that at 7 -110, either way, you're really not getting much of the best of it. I think if you got it down earlier and got 8.5, 8, you did your job, hope for the best. If you laid 6.5, probably did your job, wait for the best. But I really don't see an edge sitting at this game right now. Even the total, Joe, it's now down to 49.5. Again, if you got down earlier under 53, under 52, even 51.5 yesterday, placed a good bet. But right now, I just can't go under, and that's the heavy bias. Favored and under in that game, and I just can't touch it because, again, the line's just not there.
Yeah, well, the weather's not an issue in Boca Raton right now. I can promise you that, guys. How about, Gianni, college hoops today? Your big day. You've been laying bets since early this morning here. Give the guys some steam here that are joining us on the show.
Absolutely. We had one extra board game. That's 306-569 Longwood. Bet Longwood on the money line and bet Longwood all the way up to -2. Now, regular board games. Let's start off with 703 Alabama, -24, 24.5, and 25. 663 over 144 and 145 Creighton, Georgetown. 687 over 148.5 Wofford, St. Louis. 680 UT Arlington, -7, -7.5. 706 under 153 VCU, New Mexico. Move on to 722, Cal Riverside, -1.5. And finally, 724, Loyola Marymount on the money line and Loyola Marymount all the way up to -2. Those are the confirmed strong sides, strong totals. Doesn't mean they're going to win, but I can confirm as of right now, they're legit. They're not working any kind of middles. They're not manipulating the board. As I said, I placed upwards of 13 to 15 sides and totals. I didn't share all of them because I know a handful of those, we're going to see them come back the other way within hours. So again, or if they don't, then, we don't have a good number anyway. But those right there are legit, win or lose. Like I said, whether you follow or fade, I just hope you do some damage. And it's been good. College basketball, good day yesterday. Hopefully that continues.
Yeah, well, if you were here yesterday and you listened to him tell you Holy Cross, then that was a pretty good situation for you there yesterday. He's doing it again here today. And Gianni, great news is we get to see you coming up in a little while on Bet On It, sharing that gold here. NFL Week 16. Look at him. He got it. He's ready to roll here, guys. So make sure you smash that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, as Bet On It will be posted a little bit later here today. All right. That'll about do it here. In fact, we got to get the hell out of here. We will certainly be back again tomorrow for another edition of Wager Talk Today. And I can promise you, the Prez still won't be here. Maybe on Friday there could be a Prez sighting right now, but we do also want to send a big shout out to Dan, who apparently has not muted anybody here today. He went an entire show without screwing it up. Unbelievable job, Dan.
Thank you, crowd. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice. I put my pants on one leg at a time, Joe. Just the difference is I leave everyone's mics on after putting those pants on. So.
That is a solid point, Dan. And I am one absolutely for celebrating mediocrity. All right, guys, always a pleasure. Way to do your job, Dan. I love it. Bill Sandoval, Star Child, Eric D in the house, Big Daddy. Also, Brian Nichols there, Joshua. You guys on YouTube Shorts, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Do smash that like button for us and get ready. Still much more going on here today on Wager Talk TV. Don't forget, Bet On It will be posted early evenings here, right around 5, 6 o'clock tonight. You can catch the college football edition as well as the NFL edition, plus the many other standalone videos we've got breaking down all the games here tonight, the big games coming up. Make sure you check those out. So on behalf of Andy, Ralph Michaels, Artis Caesar, and of course, Gianni the Greek, guys, we appreciate the time. We'll see you again tomorrow for another edition of Wager Talk Today. Good luck, guys. Cash those tickets.